And then the show was going well, but then it went in the toilet with what we just talked about, and it didn't come out for this. The Gunns and the Acclaimed family therapy. And they're going to fuck up and kill this, not only the Acclaimed and the whole thing with Billy, but forever pigeonhole his kids as dipshits too if they're not careful. Because they're going to fuck this up because they didn't need... The concept of this is that Billy has wanted them to all sit down in family therapy with a therapist and talk about their problems and issues and whatever. And what they did was this wasn't even shit-stained Monday Night Raw stuff. This was shit-stained TNA Impact stuff. They got a girl therapist that overacted. It wasn't believable in any way. She did goofy double takes and phony facials. She was obviously either a rented model or some trainee or something because you don't see young, attractive family therapists that look like that and overact like that except on wrestling programs. So you couldn't believe it. It wasn't legit. It was goofy.
And in porn.
And well, there you go. She would have made a great porn therapist. That was exactly what this acting level was about. And it was goofy to do it anyway in this setting. Family therapy. The Gunn boys had good material, but they didn't mean it. They didn't seem comfortable with it, or they should have got another few cracks at it. They were saying some things. Their story was, you were never there for us when we were kids, and now, they're jealous of the Acclaimed. That's a great thing that you can sink your teeth into, a jealousy between sons and the father who's now associating with the other people, blah, blah, blah. The best one in here was Anthony Bowens. He had some good shit and sounded like he meant it. Poor Max Caster should have gotten a beat because his promo was not good. He needs to rap or rethink this. What I would have done with these same guys, except the therapist, who needed to go back to Pornhub, do this as a sit-down with a real announcer. If it Jim Ross, they were doing sit-downs with him, or Tony, or Taz. Somebody, and a grown adult male that would be sitting in front of it or in the middle of these people, try to air out their grievances, and let the Gunn boys legit dig into Billy a little bit. You weren't there for us. When you were on the road with DX, and being a big rock star, we were home with Mom. I was 5 years old. I remember you didn't go to my football game. And now you were these fucking whatever, right? And then he could fire back at him that he was out on the road making money to feed them and educate them and give them all the things they had. That's why they're so spoiled now, because he gave them everything they wanted growing up. Yeah, you gave us everything we wanted except your time. And then the Acclaim could jump in and say, we didn't want to take your place. Your jealousy drove your dad away. We wanted to be friends with all of them. They could get some real emotions up in this shiznit, as the kids say. But instead it was scripted and phony and needed to be written and produced. Not even written, but just developed. You don't write this stuff. What would the real argument be in this situation? And they're really the father and real son, so do it. But you produce it and you shoot it better, where it doesn't look like phony entertainment bullshit. And then you'd have something. What'd you think again, Brian?
I thought it was terrible. I hate this brand of wrestling skit. I won't even call it wrestling comedy because it was just a skit. In terms of a better way to do it, we saw that video over the summer of the Briscoes and FTR with Caprice Coleman. An adult sitting between them. There was even liquor involved. And they were able to display that they clearly want to kick the crap out of each other, but they're not going to do it here. There are ways to do something like that, as opposed to, again, if it was someone who looked anything like a real therapist would be one thing. This was a bad actress. And she was the most unrealistic part of this completely unrealistic segment.
Well, you could tell they didn't do this in one take either. I would have, honestly, if I was the producer, I would have had them sit there until they got it in one take, because this is something that needs to be an argument rather than edited. And what they were doing was they were going to take facial takes from her to cover up edits. And they were, probably saying something like, act shocked. Ooh, or what? Bleh. You get everybody on the same page. You say, this is what we're going to talk about. Be careful. There's going to be flying potatoes coming verbally. If we think of something that we can say to you, it's going to be sharp. We're going to say it. You have a response or we'll apologize later, whatever. And then you sit down and you have a fucking argument. But anyway,